point a number of times about that the effect of a label of a group has, like Christian, Muslim, Jew have, and I think that principle though is a little different when it comes to politics, because political ideologies are more clearly defined than ideology, where something overall like conservative, liberal, socialist, etc., just generally enumerates things that those you could call it sub-ideologies have in common. Because and also on episode 578, you expressed criticism of some politicians that use the word atheism and godless, pretty words. And of course, I agree that that is, of course, ridiculous, because there's nothing to be ashamed of being an atheist. But I'm going to apologize about beating a semi-dead horse. But I noticed that nobody has seemed to come at this issue from my angle. And on several past shows, including Russell's Foolish Atheist show, the word socialist and communist were thrown around and both directly equated with the Soviet Union, which I consider to be an evil Stalinist regime that murdered millions and millions of people. And a few past callers have also used the word socialism as a directly derogatory term. Now, I happen to be a socialist, but that doesn't make me positive about the Soviet Union at all. In fact, I share much of you guys' criticism of the idea of outlawing, oppressing, or persecuting religion.
I think I can actually correct this to your satisfaction right now. I'd have to go back and watch the actual discussions.
Well, it was not really, sorry to interrupt, but it was not only Russell's show on Foolish Atheist. There were also some callers on other shows.
Right. That's why I'm not going to be able to go back and review all of them, or who said it or in what context. A lot of times this comes up where they're trying to attack atheists because of what some other atheist has done, and then you end up with the whole socialism and communism as a bad word, a label. If I've used it that way in a general sense, then I freely apologize, because that's not my intent. And on several occasions, at least in email and or on the nonprofits, I don't know if it's happened here, I've actually made a very similar point to what you're making right now. And during the last election, I had to make this point more than once, and that is, people would say that Obama is a socialist and that they couldn't possibly vote for a socialist. And I thought that that was an oversimplification, because while you may consider socialism an invalid political position, or socio-political position in some cases, that doesn't mean that everything about it is wrong. And just because somebody has a position that may be consistent with a socialist view in one area doesn't mean that they are bringing all of socialism along, and it doesn't mean that necessarily the socialism is any kind of bad or evil thing. It's the application of socialism and communism as we've seen it in past regimes that have been terrible failures, and I am not expert enough to say whether that was due to the fact, or due to things that are intrinsically part of socialism and communism, or whether it was things that were added to them by those regimes. I can't make that assessment, but I wouldn't want to, blanket say that socialist equals evil or communist equals evil. I'd say they both equal failed ideologies, or at least poorly implemented ones to date. But yeah, if the impression was given that I would use it as a blanket label for something evil or whatever, then I wouldn't say that that's accurate for me anyway.
Well, that's I share that viewpoint, but also there's various regarding the Obama thing. I was also quite amused by the fact, because I have heard him say, quote, "I support capitalism," unquote, or something like that, and then people make him out to be a socialist, and I just had to laugh about that.
Yeah.
But I was also socialism is, the word has today sort of become like an umbrella term for many other, smaller things, where like you have like something like social democraticism or democratic socialism or something like that, and then on the far end you have like Stalinism, Maoism, and so forth. But personally, I believe that what was wrong with the Soviet Union was really the oppression, the dictatorship kind of thing. Was not. It had various good things about it, but it was also most terrible things. But personally, here in Denmark, we while we haven't had socialism like with a central planned economy, we have had socialism in the sense where we have very high taxes, where then we have like complete public healthcare system, public education system. Even the universities here are tuitionless and those sorts of things. Very, very wide social security.
Yeah.
So it's...
Did you want to weigh in?
The only thing I wanted to note, it's just kind of funny, is that every time I have what I consider to be a good idea about a way to improve government or like national status, eventually I come to find out that, oh, that's a socialist idea. So I've made it, like, added to my book list marks, because I have to read it in order to find out whether or not I'm a socialist, because I suspect that I might be.
Oh, watch out, you may...
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I'll have to kick her off the show, because when callers call in to say you're just socialist, she'll have to say, yeah. No. Thanks a lot for calling in, Trolls. I appreciate the call, and as I said, yeah, I'm not going to be necessarily using socialism or communism as a dirty word, and I'll do my best in the future to clarify that we're talking about specific instances or regimes that fit within those labels. So, you know, we're
one last thing I just wanted to say to cement this issue. Here in Denmark, we have a party called Socialist People's Party, which I happen to be a member of, and I'm not trying to promote it in any sense, but just as a vehicle of explanation. At this year's party congress, there was a woman from the Tibetan government in exile gave a long speech about what happens in Tibet under the oppression of Beijing. And also, this party was founded in 1959, and it was founded because the founder was, who used to be the chairman of the Danish Communist Party, was thrown out of the Danish Communist Party because of its fierce opposition to the Soviet Union in general, but also especially after its intervention in the Hungarian Revolution in 1956. So, you know, socialists don't have to agree with oppression or anything. In fact, in Danish, we don't, when we refer to freedom of speech, we don't even say what means freedom of speech. Talefrihed, that means freedom of speech. But we generally say ytringsfrihed, which means freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Because to us, expressing yourself in writing or in a drawing, you may have heard about something in the last department.
Yes.
It's equally important.